We're here today to really talk about growth and maturation and its impact within Club Academy Scotland. We're doing a 3-year research project to find out the relevance of growth and maturation within CAS and also its injury prevalence within Club Academy Scotland also. Everybody develops at different rates, each individual develops at different rates, and we want to basically create a programme within Club Academy Scotland to help a customer for that. So you might always see the very tall player come up against the very small player at certain age groups. Whilst that has its benefits, it also has its negatives. So we want to create a process where we can identify late maturers and also early maturers and give them a platform that will both challenge them but also enhance their development throughout the Club Academy Scotland procedure.
The first part today was me just presenting the data that we've collected from study 1, which was just highlighting what type of issues that we have within Club Academy Scotland regarding the maturation bias. One of our biggest findings is as the age groups increase, so does the magnitude of the bias. That's not just a Scotland problem, that's a worldwide problem and not just a football issue. It happens in all sports. You tend to find that there's an increase in the magnitude of the bias towards the early developer as age groups increase, and that's just typically what we're starting to find within our data sets as well.
It's something that we've introduced as a pilot scheme this season. It's used elsewhere down at the EPPP down in England and what have you. So what that is that allows us to look at the biological age of a player, not necessarily the chronological age of a player. A player could be maybe 15 years of age, but in actual fact they're a 13-year-old biologically. So what we are saying, if they are a late maturer, then we can make them players play down an age group or give the clubs the flexibility to apply for approval for those players to play down an age group and then create that more flexible nature in terms of the players' development.
Under the previous guidelines, we were only allowed to play 3 players down that clubs felt were at a physical disadvantage, like later in their maturation. Thing is, what happens is kids grow and develop at their own rates and their own times, and you could have more than 3 late developing players, and at the same time as well, you can go through a growth spurt very, very quickly. So if you are a late developer, you're no longer a late developer. So this rule change allows the freedom and the flexibility to allow these players to play with an age group which is more bespoke to their biological age rather than the chronological age, and that will give them more exposure to games, touches of a ball, different types of technical tactical challenges that they wouldn't normally get within their own age group.
So John McGinn would be a classic example. I think he was known as a unicorn of both being a late maturing boy but also in the last quarter in terms of birth quarter. So there's not many of those who stay and survive in the system and tend to have to be, as I say, the unicorn and extremely talented player to do so. I believe people like Andy Robertson were also late maturers, so went through their growth spurt later on. And as I say, those tend to be the exceptions rather than the norm, so we're hoping to be able to find and retain more of those types of players in the system and ensure that they don't get overlooked simply because they haven't yet had the chance to grow and develop and express their physical attributes compared to other boys.
In the second part, what we're leading into is how growth and maturation can influence injuries. So it's quite commonly known, once you start growing rapidly through that growth spurt, you're more susceptible to growth-related injuries, and from there that can create significant time loss throughout your academy journey. So what we're looking at begin is obviously hopefully a nationwide surveillance regarding the impact of maturation on injuries, and then from there look at a target intervention to help ensure that we're keeping our top talent on the pitch for as long as possible.
Yeah, well, Scott McTominay in Manchester United, when he was at the academy, he speaks quite a lot about that when he had a few injuries that kept him out of football for a while, and how the team at the club at the time managed him through that. Scott speaks quite openly about that, and they helped him a lot. Everyone goes through a growth spurt, but people respond differently to it, and I suppose it's about having the strategies to manage players that have really struggled through that period and players who are absolutely fine.
Most research, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It is very much a collaborative effort, and the more data that we get, the more confidence we have in the results that we have. And if we're looking to identify areas of risk, again, you need the data to be able to tell you that. As Sean alluded to, when looking at some injuries that don't happen very often, just having data on one particular club is not really going to give you that meaningful information.
We're hoping to get the buy-in from clubs to jump on that research project and start submitting their injury data to ourselves, and that way we can start to make the Club Academy Scotland structure more bespoke to ourselves and find out, you know, what are the injuries, what are the days missed by players through training and games at certain age groups through the growth spurt, and is that something that we can put in place that will help reduce the days, reduce the training time lost by players, and ultimately create a better environment for them to progress in.